Welcome to Bethel Online Education Hub. Learn anytime, anywhere. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Let's learn together, the Bethel way.
Good day, everyone. Welcome back to our Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics class. Today, we'll explore one of the most important topics in understanding how we became part of our society enculturation and socialization. Have you ever wondered how you learned to say po and opo to elders? Or why you follow certain rules at home, in school, or in your community. These are all because of the process called enculturation and socialization. Through this process, we learn how to think, feel, and act according to what our culture and society expect from us. Are you ready to understand how you became a member of the of your society? Let's begin. Class, have you ever asked yourself, how did I learn the things I know today about our culture? Why do we celebrate birthdays with handa? Why do we respect our elders by saying po and opo? Or why do we remove our shoes before entering someone's home? These are not things we're born knowing. We learn them as we grow up from our families, friends, school, and community. This process of learning and adapting the values, beliefs, and customs of our community or society is what we call enculturation. So, what is enculturation? Enculturation is the process by which individuals learn and adapt the culture of their own society. Through enculturation, a person learns the beliefs, custom, tradition, values, and language of their community. They understand the rules and practice of their culture and develop a sense of identity as a member of that culture. It's usually start at home, continues in school, and extend to friends, religion, media, and other social group. Imagine this. What if you woke up in a new place where no one taught you what is right or wrong, how to speak to others, or how to behave? Do you think you'd know how to act properly? Of course not, right? That's because we learn how to live and behave in our society through a process called socialization. Socialization is the lifelong process where individuals learn how to think, feel, and act according to the norms, values, customs, and roles of their society. It teaches us what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior, or how to interact with others properly. There are three goals of socialization. The first is impulse control and development of conscience. Next is preparation for the performance of social roles. Next is cultivation of sources of meaning and values. Three goals of socialization. First is the impulse control and the development of conscience. Socialization teach individuals to control their basic impulse, desire, and emotion in ways that are that are acceptable within their society. Through this process, people develop a sense of right and wrong, known as conscience, which guide their behavior. Second is preparation for the performance of social roles. Socialization equips individual with the knowledge, skills, and behavior necessary to perform the various social roles. Expect of them. For example, being a student, parent, leader, or friends. It helps people understand the norms, rules, and expectations attached to different roles in society. The last is cultivation of sources of meaning and values. Socialization introduces individuals to the belief systems, tradition, and values of their culture, helping them find meaning and purpose in life. It shapes how people view the world, interpret experiences, and decide what is important. Through socialization, we also develop our identity and become capable, responsible members of our community and society. Sorry. Have you ever noticed how you act differently when you're with your friends compared to when you at home with your family or when you're in front of your teachers? Do you feel like you show different sides of yourself depending on where you are and where you with? That's because each of us has an identity, and our identity is not fixed. It can change and adjust depending on the situation. Today we'll learn that what identity really means and how it shapes who we are. What is identity? Identity refers to the qualities, behavior, values, personality, appearance, and expressions that make a person unique and recognizable. It includes the way you act, the beliefs and values you hold, and how you dress or how you present yourself, and how you express your thoughts and emotion. Identity is flexible. It can change depending on the situation, experiences, and circumstances. Example, you may act different when you with your family, with your friends, or inside the classroom. You might be quiet at school, but outgoing at home, and that's perfectly normal because identity adjusts to fit different situations. Let's think about this. Who you are. Are you just a student, a daughter or son, a friend, a gamer, an artist, a leader, or maybe all of them? As we grow older, we take on different roles and discover new things about ourselves. The person you were when you were 5 years old is very different from the person you are now. And this will continue to change as you experience new things. This process of discovering and shaping who you are is what we call identity formation. What is identity formation? Identity formation is the process where a person develops and shapes their identity over time. It involves discovering who you are, what you believe in, what you value, and how you see yourself in society. Three major perspectives on identity formation. When we talk about identity, there are different ways to understand how it forms. There are three major perspectives used by social scientists. To explain this, let's get to know them one by one. The first is identity theory. This perspective focuses on the role assigned to individuals by society. Your identity is shaped by the roles you play in your family, schools, community, and other groups. For example, as a student, you're expected to study and follow school rules. As a child, you are expected to obey your parents. These roles influence how you see yourself. Second, social identity theory. These perspectives highlight the importance of group membership and acceptance. You form your identity based on the groups you belong and how those groups see you. For example, being a part of Barkada, a sports team, a church group, or random makes you feel you belong, and you adopt the behavior and attitudes of the group. So dito sa social identity theory, kung saan ka nakagrupo or nakabilang at kung paano ka tinanggap ng grupo, doon mo binubuo ang identity mo. The last is personal identity theory. This perspective focuses on the unique personal traits and characteristics that makes you different from others. It's about your talents, values, interests, personality, and beliefs. For example, you might be friendly, hardworking, artistic, or shy. These personal traits become part of your identity. Is why some people are naturally quiet while others are talkative. Why some are very friendly while others are more serious. Or why you and your best friend have different attitudes, even if you grew up in the same neighborhood. These differences came from something we call personality. Personality refers to the set of characteristics, attitudes, and behavior that makes a person unique. And just like identity, personality doesn't happen overnight. It is shaped by many factors around us. What influences personality? Personality develops through the interaction of first is genetics. The traits you inherit from your parents, like physical features and natural tendencies. Second is socialization. How you learn from people around you, like family, friends, and community. The third one is enculturation. How you adapt your own culture, beliefs, values, and custom. The last is life experiences. The event and situation you go through, whether good or bad, that's help shape your attitude and outlook in life. For example, if you grow up in a supportive family, you might develop a confident personality. If you experiences challenges, those can make you stronger and more resilient. Factors influencing sense of self-control. Have you ever think who controls your life? It's your parents, your friends, or it's you. The answer depends on how much control you believe you have over your own life. And this affects your sense of self or how you make and value yourself. There are two main types of control that influence your sense of self. The first is external control. This happens when a person believes that their life is controlled by outside forces. For example, like luck, fate, other people, or situation beyond their control. For example, when someone says, wala akong magagawa, ganyan talaga ang buhay. When someone says, wala akong magagawa, ganyan talaga ang buhay. Ibig sabihin, iniisip mo na ang ibang tao o sitwasyon nang magkakadikit ang buhay mo. Next is internal control. This happens when a person believes that they are responsible for their own choices and decisions, and they have the power to change their life through their own action. For example, when someone says, kaya ko to, nasa kamay ko ang kinabukasan ko. So, ibig sabihin, ikaw ang may hawak ng buhay mo at ikaw ang gumagawa ng paraan para baguhin ito. Understanding where you place control, whether external or internal, affects your confidence, motivation, decision making, and the way you deal with challenges in life. So now let's proceed to culture, values, and norms. Imagine living in a place where no one taught you what's right or wrong, what's polite or rude, or what you should and shouldn't do. Do you think people could live peacefully together without rules and shared beliefs? That's why we have culture. Culture provides everyone with norms, values, expectation, and other important information needed to live properly with others in the group. It guides us, it guides our behavior, teach us what is acceptable and unacceptable, and help us understand how to act in different situations. The values and norms of society are passed on to or acquired by its member through the process of enculturation, where we learn the beliefs, customs, and practices of our own culture from family, schools, friends, media, religion, and society. For example, we learn to say po and opo to respect elders and celebrate holidays like Christmas and fiestas because these are part of our culture, passed down through generation. Values are shared beliefs, practices, and standards of what is considered important, good, desirable, and proper in a society or social group. They guide how people think, feel, and behave in various situations. For example, honesty, respect, hard work, and kindness are values that many societies encourage. They influence decision, relationship, and how individuals interact with their communities. What are norms? Norms are shared ideas and expectations about how people thought to act in a certain situation. These are the rules for proper and acceptable behavior in society. Example, saying po and opo to elders. Fall in line when buying foods. Not talking loudly inside the library. Okay, next is, have you ever noticed how people are sometimes treated differently because of their jobs, their achievements, or their lifestyle? Some people are called sir or ma'am because of their position. Others are respected because of their education or the way they live. This is connected to the concept of status. Status is a person's position or standing in society, and it's often associated with prestige or social importance. A person's status may be based on person's lifestyle, how a person lives, behave, and what they can afford. Second is education, the level of schooling or academic achievement of a person has. Last is vocation, the job, profession, or role of a person performs in society. For example, a doctor, a teacher, a barangay captain, or a business owner. Each hold a different status in society based on their occupation, education, or lifestyle. Knowing about status help us understand how people relate to one another in society, how respect and privilege are given, and why certain people are expected to behave or to be treated in specific ways. Have you noticed that you act differently when you are at home, in school, or with your friends? That's because we play different roles depending on where we are and what our status is. A role is a set of norms, values, behavior, and personality characteristics attached to a specific status. It tells a person how to act in a given situation based on their position in society. Every status comes with one or more expected roles. An individual can play one or more roles at the same time. Example, as a student, you are expected to study, follow rules, and respect teachers. Next example, as a child at home, you are expected to help with other chores and follow your parents. So, as a friend, you are expected to be loyal, kind, and supportive. According to sociologists, status describe the position of a person occupies in a certain situation. We all engage in various status and play the roles that may relate to them. Have you ever felt torn between doing your homework and joining your friend's birthday party at the same day? Or when you need to study for an exam, but your parent asks you to help with house chores? That feeling of being caught between two different responsibilities is called role conflict. Role conflict happens when the demands and expectation of two or more roles you have are in conflict, meaning they compete for your time, attention, and energy. It stems from the challenging and opposing pressure of different roles you need to fulfill. Example, as a student, you need to study for an exam. As a member of a family, you ask to attend family reunion. And a friend, you are invited to a barkada outing. When these schedules and responsibilities overlap, your experience role conflict because it's hard to satisfy them at all the same time. What is gender identity? Gender identity is a person's deeply held sense of being male, female, both, neither, or something else. It is how a person personally experiences and understands their own gender, which may or may not match the sex they were assigned at birth. Example, a person assigned male at birth might identify as a man. Some might identify as binary, meaning they don't see themselves as strictly male or female. Another might identify with gender they were assigned at birth. In short, gender identity is about how you see and feel about yourself as a person in terms of gender. What is gender role? Gender role are the expected behaviors, attitudes, and responsibilities that a society consider appropriate for men, women, or other gender identities. These roles are shaped by culture, tradition, and social norms, and they often tell people how should they act, dress, or work based on their gender. Example, in some cultures, women are expected to take care of households, while men are expected to provide for the family. Boys may be encouraged to play with cars and girls with dolls. Though modern societies are increasingly challenging these traditional roles. Gender roles are the societal expectation placed on people based on their gender. Today, we learn how people become part of their society through enculturation and socialization. We also talk about identity formation, how our personality develops, and the importance of culture, values, norms, status, and roles in guiding our behavior. Lastly, we explored gender identity and gender roles and how this influence the way we see ourselves and interact with others. And that's it for today's lesson. We learned how enculturation and socialization help shape we are, how we behave, and how we live with others in our society. We also discover how our identity and personality are formed, how our roles and status affected our daily lives, and how values, norms, and culture guided our action. Always remember, while society influences us, we also have the power to shape our own identity, make our own choices, and believe and build the person we want to become. Thank you for participating actively today, and I hope you'll continue to observe how these ideas show up in your own lives. See you in the next lesson. Stay curious and keep learning.